All right, we are back. Now, originally we were going to go more in depth about the Kevin Sullivan thing.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of days later, you have
Yes,
it.
I do. So
Let's talk. We got to talk about soft ground wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
We've watched the match before, and a lot has come out.
Yeah.
Now,
so let's give a little bit of background to what soft ground wrestling is. Essentially, soft ground wrestling is a Ugandan wrestling school, from what I've heard, and it became very notable in 2023 or
it started in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the competitors are generally orphans.
Mm-hmm.
They create the ring. They break up the dirt underneath, so it's not as packed in.
And so that's why it's called soft ground wrestling.
Because when you break up dirt, it becomes softer.
Mm-hmm. So the promotion gained a lot of notoriety when Mansoor and Mason Madden showed up at the wrestling school
and
did a promo and a match.
Yes, but I mean the promotion already had some moments online before MXM Collection went there.
Yeah,
it just made it a lot easier for that. Now, what is going on with that?
So how do I put this way? A former employee came out and said that SGW essentially mishandled all the donations that they have received.
Yes, they have received a lot of donations from wrestlers, from people through GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here is what's going on with this GoFundMe. Because in Uganda, you cannot have a GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use GoFundMe money and circumvent that into a different way for anybody in Uganda to get that money. So there was a unofficial representative that essentially took over the facilitation of this GoFundMe. This person's name, I believe, is Daniel Bushman.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so he is the one who started the GoFundMe. Now, this is to what I am aware of.
And or now, is it Bumbash? Because Bumbash is the name of the head of the promotion.
Yes.
And so essentially what is going on is that the tens of thousands of dollars at this point that the company has obtained through these donations were meant primarily to build a proper wrestling ring, because that is what they wanted, has been misappropriated by the promotion's owner and has gone towards the, quote, food and storage areas of the promotion.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Which means essentially nothing.
So the former SGW associate who essentially whistleblowed this entire situation resulted in a lot of online backlash towards Bumbash and towards the promotion in general.
The GoFundMe, to my knowledge, has been taken down. The funds, generally, when GoFundMe gets involved, actually go into a totally different pot where GoFundMe does their own investigation.
Yep. And then more things that I've lost my train of thought again. More things came out with regards to this associate as well.
So the promoter essentially
is like withholding and misappropriating funds away from what the intentions were when Mason Mansoor opened this GoFundMe, because they were the ones that opened it.
Yes. But he took over it unofficially.
Right.
I don't know how he did it, because really it's not... Because to what I saw, he's not necessarily a promoter of it. He is the American representative of the company. So they can get this GoFundMe money because, once again, you cannot have GoFundMe in Uganda because of the reputation of scammers out there. So generally you can't do that. Not only that, but I heard that there were some wrestlers from this promotion that were arrested for arson.
Yes, we're going to get to that story later. But I first want to talk about the other allegations that were made against the founder as well,
who was abusing minors.
Yes.
If I'm not,
so the whistleblower was a teenager who worked for the promotion, and he claims that he was abused by the founder. I don't know the nature of the abuse.
It was all verbal. So it was through DM communications. Yeah. The owner actually admitted in a quote that I abused them.
Right, like verbal abuse.
Yes.
Other things that came about with regards to Bumbash and this whole situation regarding Bumbash has led to a split in the promotion between those who are loyal to Bumbash, because he kind of has a cult-like reputation among Ugandan wrestlers, and those who support the abused, essentially. There are also a number of things that were said initially that came out to not be true. So, for example, the organization consisting mostly of orphans is in fact largely not true.
Yep.
And they have misrepresented themselves as a charitable organization.
Bumbash has claimed that they have reached a television deal with NBC Sports,
which is not true.
Yep. That the money was going to be going to a SGW supposed wrestling school, but that has never materialized.
Right.
The documents also confirm that. Do you want to get to the mass arrest yet or no? Because that's pretty much the next big part, because I think like half of the roster was arrested for arson.
So let's move on to the arson part. So Bumbash and a bunch of wrestlers have essentially put themselves into a number of sticky situations.
Yes. So what happened was that they had some vans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And they intentionally burned these vans to try to get the insurance money from it. And this is like half of the roster that Bumbash has this weird cult-like trance over. And this all occurred like in May. Yeah. So this is a while ago.
So Bumbash was known for driving vehicles that were, one of the vans essentially didn't have any back seats or seat belts. And he was driving his wrestlers around in these vans, very unsafe conditions.
Well, it's in Uganda.
He has been seen drinking vodka while driving to pick up international wrestlers looking to work with SGW.
Yep.
Though it is unconfirmed whether he was drunk, he was seen with a bottle of vodka in his hand.
Now, and also, by the way, a lot of this is coming out of wrestle or bodyslam.net, so take it with an enormous grain of salt. But there has been support because of a German television show.
There was a German TV crew, who happened to be in the area at the time.
And they're the ones who actually covered the arrest in arson.
Yes.
I tried to find a clip of it, but I could not find it.
Yep. Male and female trainees were both arrested in this. They are facing life in prison, but they were all released shortly after being arrested.
Yes.
Because Bumbash supposedly claimed that he would pay to have everyone's records wiped clean, essentially bribing officials to wipe these wrestlers clean from their
charges, so they can continue to do the show. But since this has been coming out, there have been a lot of people. Now, I will give credit to one person who actually sort of talked about this earlier. I know sometimes he watches the show, but Belts by Dan came out quite early on regarding the sketchiness of Bumbash.
Yeah. Because all of this goes back to Bumbash and his and this wrestling promotion that he is running. And it was like it was said before, it was portrayed, and many of us believed that it was a charitable organization for orphans, and that got a lot of attention.
My thing is, I don't believe that. I believe that when it originally started, that was what it was. And a person like Bumbash got his dirty little hands into it.
But he started the promotion.
I thought he only took over.
No,
the promotion.
he started it, I believe.
Well, that's not what I heard. I heard something
okay.
totally. I heard that it was started in 2023, and he essentially took it over as the American representative.
He's not an American representative. He lives in Uganda.
No, but he is the representative that works with the international talent. This is what I heard.
Yeah. Okay.
He is the American representative, but he uses the teenage volunteers that are in like the United Kingdom and in America for the donations. He's the one who's running the show within that way.
Okay.
This is what I heard from the same article that he is in Uganda physically.
Right.
But he is the representative that goes to the American accounts.
Yes.
With the volunteers. Yes.
That's kind of what I heard as well. So a very unfortunate situation with soft ground wrestling. And do you have any additional thoughts on kind of what this means for this promotion, what this means for the wrestlers involved, and what this means for the wrestlers who endorsed this? I don't think the wrestlers who endorsed this, even Mason Madden or Mansoor and Mason, are going to get any repercussions from this. Obviously,
well, they're not going to. No, they're not going to get any repercussions because they're not directly involved in it.
No, they're not.
I think they
just came.
They were victims of a scam.
Yes,
this is 100% a scam. Now, I believe that Bumbash came in because he saw the potential of making the money.
Yep.
He obviously has influence and connections.
Yep. That he has at least half this roster under some sort of trance.
Yep.
He seems to be okay with taking money. He seems to be okay with giving bribes. He seems to be okay with
thinking he can do whatever he wants. He's a sociopath.
Yeah.
That's all he is. And I am very I'm downhearted on the people who are not with him, who believed in this, because I was too. I never donated any money, but I've always wanted to promote soft ground wrestling. We even talked about covering some of their programs if we saw all of their shows, because in a way, it's a cool idea. Right. I want to help people who are downhearted. There was obvious passion there, and it's unfortunate that there are scummy people. Yeah. And in a certain way, shape, or form, you have to look at each of these situations one-sided. This is not a representative of all of Ugandans, right? Clearly.
No.
And I would never want to say that, but the country does have this reputation. Yep. There is a reason why GoFundMe does not allow them there or in Nigeria. Yep. I believe Guam can't have anything, but this is just what happens when somebody charismatic takes over something like this. And unfortunately, soft ground wrestling is pretty much going to be done. Yeah. I don't foresee them coming out of this smelling like roses. No. And that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Because these were orphans. Some of them were.
Yeah, some of them were orphans. Some of them were really downtrodden. Some of them really had a passion for it.
And they donated to orphanages. They wanted to start this wrestling school. And it's like, this is a great way for maybe these kids, instead of going into crime, train to be a wrestler. Right. I think that's a great thing, because even here in America, like something like the YMCA, where kids who might not be in a great situation have a place to do activities, to do sports, and it's a great way to sort of get out of that lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just an all-around unfortunate situation. I think.
So now I'm going to go to the same thing with you. Do you think, with everything going on here, do you think soft ground wrestling has an opportunity to get out of what this is?
No, I don't think so.
You think?
I think that this sort of thing is going to continue, but I think that coverage of SGW is all but going to cease. At this rate.
I mean,
I think the wrestlers who were involved are going to just quietly just not say anything anymore about it.
Now, do you think that the soft ground wrestlers who wanted to make the difference, if they wanted to do kind of their own thing with a totally different structure,
they can do that? I just don't see it being as promoted with other wrestlers as this was.
I don't either.
It's just a bad experience, and they just ruined it for everybody else
Yep.
who actually had a passion. So there we go. That's
Yep.
all I have to say about it.
Yep, it sucks.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does suck. But sometimes that's just kind of how
That's kinda how it
wrestling
goes.
is. Next week, we do not have a show. We have Mothership coming into town, and for the week after, it's up in the air. She leaves on Sunday.
Yes.
We record these on Sunday. So,
I guess we'll see.
Yep.
It's all up in the air.
yep. But if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, share, and also comment down below. What are your thoughts on the situation?
Mhm.
If we see a big follow-up to this, because this is still fairly new,
Yep.
we will keep you up to date
Yep.
on that. And I hope, and as always, be
Majestic.